Well, hi folks, a different kind of repair today. We're back to talking about appliance fixing. This is my clothes dryer. It is a Roper, what's this? Heavy duty super capacity. It's not working. There's no heat, so I'm assuming it's the heating element. These dryers basically have three components that make them work. As far as I know, I'm not an expert by any means. One would be the heating element, of course, that makes the air hot to dry the clothes. Another would be the blower fan that circulates the air through the tub, so that and the inside of the dryer, so that the hot air circulates well. And the third thing would be the drum motor that rotates the drum so the clothes get tossed around while they're being dried. Since it does run, and since it does blow air, I'm assuming that by process of elimination, it's got to be the heating element that went. Now, this Roper, actually, washer dryer pair Roper, both of these I got maybe 6-7 years ago on eBay. We got them used. Somebody didn't need them anymore in a house that they were renovating. I was willing to give a shot with the Roper because I had a pair of Roper washer and dryer set before that I got about 20 years out of. Now this is low end Whirlpool, and I just bought them at Lowe's. These, like I said, I got on eBay from private individual, but the ones I had I just bought at Lowe's, and they lasted with some very heavy use for about 20 years, so I can't complain about the quality. Now these aren't the Rudy Kazuti special fancy dryers that they have and washers that they have nowadays. These are just the standard ones that I got because I didn't need anything special or fancy. 3 different temperatures, a couple different drying cycles. That's all I needed, and the washer was the same way. It had the basics. So I would highly recommend Roper as a brand if you're not looking to spend a whole lot of money but you want reliability. I've seen that. Now these, I don't know how old they were originally because I bought them used, and did initially stick these two out in storage in the barn for a couple years, had them covered up because the others were still working, but I figured they were near the end of their life. So as they quit on me, I replaced them. The dryer I replaced, I can't remember when. The washer I just replaced a year or two ago. So they held up very well. The only repairs I had to do on the old Roper set, the dryer, I had to replace the drive belt, and also the drive wheels kind of got shredded, so the drum wasn't spinning properly. But there was a kit for that, and it didn't take too much to repair it. The washer, the only thing I had go wrong with that was the sensor in the behind the dash there that turns the washer off when you lift the lid. If you've got it full of water and the drum or the agitator is spinning or washing, especially spinning, could be dangerous if you stuck your hand down in there, of course. So they have this sensor that when you lift the lid, the washer turns off. Well, that went bad on me, so I just found a way to bypass it, watched a YouTube video to bypass it, and then I just put a warning on top of the washer lid: don't open if it's running. I got a few more years out of it. So, and this one I don't think there's anything seriously wrong other than that's the heating element. So I did watch a number of YouTube videos on this. This is not a common or an uncommon repair with washers and dryers. One thing that I did learn, even if you don't have a Roper, if you have the kind of dryer that has the lint filter here on the top like this, then there's a universal kit, a universal heating element that you can put in regardless of brand, as long as it's got that that lint filter on the top versus somewhere else on different types of models. So basically I'm going to take the back off. I'll show you that. It's supposed to be relatively easy, and I got a kit from Amazon. I'll show you here. The main component, of course, is the heating element. You can see that'll get reattached like that, and here are the heating coils, and it's just two 2 wires that attach to that, which is good. Oh, there's an extra on part of the kit, extra wires and extra screws if needed. Also, there are like 4 other little components in the back there. I'll list them off for you as I'm replacing them. Other like sensors and thermostats and things like that. Since I'm not 100% sure it's just the element, the last thing I want to do is go through and try to test out all these different components to see which one's working, which one isn't. For 40 bucks and a kit to replace all of them, and relatively easy to do so, it just made more sense. Might as well give it a complete tune-up, so to speak. So there are these other little pieces, these other 4 little pieces that come in the kit, and I'll walk you through those as I do them. Again, they just go on by about 1 screw, and then there's just one little contact there, wire contact, or 1 or 2, whatever, and it looks like it's fairly easy to do. So that's going to be our project for today, to fix the roper dryer so that I can dry clothes again. Alright, I'll come back to you when I get started. The information I was given, and we'll see how accurate that was, is that you only need 1/4 inch socket or nut driver for all of the various screws. These little screws in here, they're all the same. To take the back off, to hold this in place, to hold these in place, it's all just 1/4 inch. So if that, I have a 1/4 inch nut driver too. So if that's the case and I don't need any other tools, great. Probably bring a regular screwdriver, my needle nose, just in case. But that's what we're going to start with. Now I will show you one other thing too. Always, always, always safety first. So we go over here to the panel box. Oops, sorry. And as you can see, there's my dryer. It's a 30 amp double pole breaker because it's a 220 load. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, now I know that that's safer to work with. I also have my dryer with a receptacle and a plug on the back. Some people wire them directly, but I didn't do that, so I'm going to unplug it as well, so I know I'm safe. Again, take that extra couple minutes to be sure. I know you think, well, you know, as long as it's not running, it's no big deal, but you just don't want to take any chances. I mean, 220 volts, 30 amps of electricity can kill you real quick if you get hit with it the wrong way. So there's no point in taking any chance. So turn that off, and then you're safe to go. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I have my dryer pulled out now. I took the unplugged it, of course, and took the hose off, the vent hose. I'm at tight quarters here in the laundry room, so I hope this is recording okay for you. I have the camera on a tripod. So first thing is to take the back panel off here, and that has about 9 or 10 of these little 1/4 inch, they're not really screws, they just have a bolt head on them. And also a little tricky thing that I use, if you don't have one of these, buy yourself one. It's a magnetic tray to hold all your nuts and bolts, and that way you don't need to worry about losing them. If Ralphie would have had this in Christmas Story, he could have saved soap to the face, to the mouth. At any rate, sorry, it's just after Christmas. So I'm just going to take these out. It's just, they're just like sheet metal screws holding the back onto the back of the dryer. And I think they're all the same size, so I don't need to worry about separating out not just 1/4 inch but also length, that, you know, that there'd be a problem that way, that certain ones have to be longer than others. And from what I understand, all the components inside are basically the same way. They're all these little screws. So alright, so you're seeing me do this. I won't make you watch me take all of them out. I'll come back when this is off, and then we can actually see the components we've got to change. So I'll come back to you. Okay, we've got the back off now, as you can see. And let me walk you through this as best I know it. So this is the heating element right here on the bottom part of this silver tube. It's going to come apart. It's held on by a couple screws. So that's what we're going to replace. And then also Down here, this little piece is the thermostat. We're going to replace that. This is the thermal cutoff. Oops, sorry, got to get up there where you can see it. This is the thermal cutoff. We're going to replace that. And then we also have, here's the thermal fuse. This little white thing here. And below that is the cycling thermostat. So we've got thermal fuse, cycling thermostat, and thermal cutoff. Oops, I've got to go up and show you thermal cutoff. And then also this part here from about here down is the heating element. We'll take that out. This one looks like it's also got some flanges on the side there to help hold it in place. So we may have to deal with them too, in addition to the two bolt screws, whatever you want to call them. So that'll be my next move, is to pull this off. We'll start big to small. We'll work our way around to these other smaller pieces, and then we should have a dryer that works. So I'll come back to you. Okay, I took it off. These little flanges on the side aren't to hold it in place, they're to hold the elements inside the box here. So it was just the two screws. Now what I'm going to do is, I think with the thermostat here, is I'm going to install the new thermostat on the new heating element first, rather than put the heating element in and then fool with it, because it'd be easier to get at. All that I'll have to do then is replace two wires here. I've got the red wire and then the striped wire here that are going to go on the thermostat, and I'll show you where they go. But that might be easier, so let me get that together and then I'll come back to you when that's ready to reassemble. Okay, so what I did, hopefully you can see this on the camera, I took the new element and I put the new thermostat on. Basically there are no bolts to screw in, no screws to put in. It attaches by, see this little bracket here? That slides over this prong sticking up from this white ceramic component there. And then the other side, this hole here, there's a little tab, metal tab, that's attached to the unit that you slip up through there and you bend it down. That's what holds it in place, basically. So all I have to do now is put my two screws back in, put it in, and then I have three wires to put back on, and I'll show you where those go. It's not hard to keep straight. Like it was suggested, if you're concerned about making sure you don't get your wires mixed up, actually take the wires off the old piece, put them onto the new piece before you attach the new piece. That way you take one off, put one on, take one off. That way you're sure you've got them exactly where you want them to be. But let's just start here by putting the unit back on here. And again, this should now work well. Brand new heating element. Should make a difference. This was supposed to be the enhanced version according to what the advertising on Amazon said. That just slips right up underneath there. Just gotta get my hole to be lined up. I think that's good. We'll see in a minute, I'm sure. These darn little, there we go, yeah, we're good. These darn little screws, it's hard to get a hold of right. Okay, so that's going back on there, no problem. I shouldn't have tightened that down maybe quite as much, because I want to make sure my other hole lines up, and it looks like it's going to be okay too. So let's see if this will go in just as easy. Sorry if my arm's in the way to be able to see. There's just no good way to do this unless I get myself maybe a GoPro that I put on my head or something. Okay, now we have three wires here that I think you can see where they're going to go. If not, I'll show you a close-up picture. The top red wire here is going to go on the top of the thermostat on there. This little white white and black striped one, is going to go on this little tab on the brass or copper extension, the lip on that thing that attached to the white housing. Let's see if I can get that on there. Okay, that goes like that, and then this other wire goes to the other bracket there on the white housing. Now I may have to pinch those a little bit. They feel like they're a little bit loose, and I don't want it not to work right because there isn't good contact. So I may pinch these just a little bit to assure that they're going to stay on. There shouldn't be much that would cause them to come off, but oh, that one was loose. That one's kind of loose. I can squeeze them just a little bit before I put them on. Oh, don't squeeze that one too much. Don't need to break it. I'll have to be using some really creative way to attach this. I squeezed it too much. Alright, I'll come back to you when I get this fixed. Okay, I got the pieces in. Everything is pinched tight now. Should hold. And I have this is, let me refer to my cheat sheet here. It's the thermal cutoff up here. I have this pulled out. It was one screw and then a little tab. And it's just got the two connectors there. I find it here on my pack of parts. Yeah, that's it. Some of these components look fairly similar, and if you're not used to doing this, or you don't know what you're doing, it can be easy to get them mixed up. So I'm going slow and easy through this because I don't want to have to do it again. I certainly don't want to damage parts because they're in the wrong place and then have to wait until I can get more. At any rate, so we see here the little tab here was in the top. This is the top connector. Stick that on there. Bottom connector. That should be good. Now let's see if I can slip this back in easily. A little bit of lint here. What I didn't tell you was I spent a fair amount of time vacuuming this before I started working here because there was a fair amount of lint buildup back in here. Didn't think that was necessary to show you on the film. Anybody's got an old dryer, I'm sure you get the same issue. You just, when would you think to check it, you know? And you clean out the hose, but back in here in the components you'd never think to look. So maybe it's a good thing. Okay, so now the thermal cutoff is in place. So that's 1, 2, 3 of the components. I just have these two. This little, no sense trying to hide my cheat sheet, I'm using it. Okay, this is the thermal fuse. And again, it's just one little bolt to come out, screw. Just slides out there. Let me get more. more lint to play with. Hope I'm not boring anybody. This is the first time I've ever done this, so I can't go fast because I do want it right, but I'm hoping you're able to see what I'm doing so that if you have to do it, you can do it too. Connectors on tight, which is what you really want. I have to take my needle nose to get that off in there. Again, I don't want to break it. There we go. I do have more of these connectors from when I do other electrical work, but I don't need to replace any. That's so much the better. Connect that one back on. That was the, oops, I got that wrong already. Yep, that was the upper one, not the bottom one. There we go. Oh, that one's going to be difficult too, I see. Well, glad they're on securely. That one. So now slide that down and in. Put my screw back in. Okay. And then our final piece is the cycling thermostat. And that also just has one screw to take out, I think. This one's a little more tricky because it's got four wires attached to it, so I got to be careful how I do this so I get the right. It also slips down in behind. So I want to be careful with this too. I guess you can, I hope you can see this. It's got, on the top, it's got a red wire, on the bottom a red and white striped wire, and then two purple ones on either side. So that shouldn't be too difficult to remember. But once again, we'll do them one at a time. Like I said, I'm cramped for space here, so it's not anything gracious that I'm doing here. Or graceful, I should say. Alright, well, let's get the bottom one off first if we can. Oh good, that one came off fairly easily. I guess there is no, it doesn't look like there's a left or right side to this, so as long as I put this on the bottom one, it does, there is no right side up or upside down. I can't do this sitting down. Oh, it's tough to get old and be out of shape. Alright, but this still saves hundreds of dollars if I had to call some repairman in, or worse yet, just decide, oh, the dryer's shot, I gotta get rid of it. I don't think you'd replace this for $40 and have anything that worked well, let's put it that way. this should dry very well now that I'm replacing all these components. Now remember, I'm not doing anything with the motor or the blower fan, so hopefully they're still in good shape. I haven't seen any issues with them, at least not yet. So, and of course these are going to be tight too. Yep. I'm glad whoever put these on put them on snug, but they are a pain to try to get off. Make sure I'm putting it on the new one and not back on the old one. There we go. And just one more to go. Okay, and they are all on good and tight, so I just have one screw to put in and that should do it. Now remember, this thing slipped in behind here a little bit, just like that. Again, since these are kind of universal, different styles of dryers might be a little bit different how they attach. But they are meant to be interchangeable, so they're adaptable in that regard. I'm just going to go through here and double check all my wires to make sure they're connected well. I don't need anything to come loose. Okay, so now all I have to do is put my back on, put my hose back on, plug it in, and we'll give it a shot. So I will come back to you when we're all ready to see how well it works. You don't need to see me put the back on, I'm sure. So here we go, we're ready for the big test. Sorry for the delay, I had to recharge my battery, it was exhausted. Turn it to dry, push the on button, and it's running. It was running before. That wasn't the issue was no heat. Well, let's see what's coming out of the duct here. I know you can't feel it on film, but yep, it's definitely starting to warm up. And I have it on high, so it should be as hot as it gets. Now there's nothing in there, so it's not going to run for very long, but yes, we definitely have heat coming out of there now. Okay. So, mission accomplished. Oh, by the way, we do this diverter here for the dryer exhaust, just to add extra heat to the house to save on energy. In the winter, we divert the heat into here. In the summer, there's a flap in here that can fold so that it all goes out to the ductwork outside. So just another little basic trick to save money living out in the country. And then it's got a lint screen here. You can see it, that needs to be cleaned out every time, just like your regular lint screen. So the kit worked, fixed the problem with the dryer, and what I will do is I will put a link to the Amazon link where I got the kit in the comments below. So if you would like to get one, I mean, they sell them other places too. And they have different varieties of them there on Amazon, but this was just the first one I thought would work, and the price was good, so I went with it. So if that's something you're interested in, it should be in the comments below. So thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful to you if you're in a situation where you have to do a dryer repair, and thank you for subscribing and supporting our channel as we explore what it means to live out in the country on a shoestring. Again, thank you for watching.